oh wow, things really do feel off down there. A lot of people don't realize when you first give birth, sorry if this is TMI, I'm just trying to be honest and real because I was never told this. Okay, we're back with another video on the reality after birth. I'm 14 weeks postpartum as of recording this with my first baby, and it has been a wild ride, to say the least. I went through the lowest point of my life 3 months ago after I gave birth, specifically day 3. Now it is month 3, and wow, I feel like I'm living another different reality now because things have changed so much with me, with my baby, with me and my husband, just adjusting and learning everything on the go. Baby time is so different from regular time because I remember without a baby, like 3 months, that's a long time. That's like plenty of time to do whatever you want, right? And it feels so different because now that when I have a baby, I'm like, what the heck? Didn't you just get here like yesterday? Like, how is it already 3 months? Why are you so big? Why are you getting bigger every day? In this video, I just want to shout out Monica, who left a comment talking about how needed it is to talk about the physical aspect of postpartum recovery in a way that is just unfiltered. I'm just going to tell you everything that I've gone through and been processing and thinking about. And this is an open diary of what I've been experiencing so that I can be kind of like that mom friend for whoever is going to become a new mom or is a new mom. Because it's just so hard to like talk about these things openly and vulnerably, and all the stuff that you see online is obviously, it's the bias of if you're not struggling so hard, if you have more time and energy, like you're going to be the kind of person to put stuff online. But for me, and I know so many other moms, like we are on a struggle bus, and the struggle bus looks different in different seasons. I feel compelled to share what I've been going through for other moms like me. Everybody really has such a different experience. I've had mom friends who have given birth around the same time as me, who had C-sections or high blood pressure, had to get readmitted to the hospital after birth, or there's like so many vastly different experiences when it comes to all the things postpartum. I fortunately didn't have anything like very traumatic happen to me during labor and delivery. I only had a 1st-degree tear. It's so funny because tearing down there was one of the scariest things to me about the whole giving birth process. It just sounds so like, what the heck? Like, it's delicate, it's fragile down there. Like, I cannot even imagine something tearing. Like, I was really freaked out about it. I did a lot of prep work in terms of training myself to do an unmedicated labor at a hospital. I do think that was one of the reasons probably, and also just so much is out of your control. You can't plan a lot of things, but that was basically one of my intents for doing an unmedicated labor. Was I heard that because you're more connected to how you feel and then you can like control things a little better. It's not the case for everybody, but that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do unmedicated versus an epidural. Another thing was most of my pregnancy, I was like, wow, I'm so blessed. I don't have any stretch marks. I heard most pregnant women have stretch marks. Was it the beginning or middle of my 3rd trimester? Bam, stretch marks everywhere. I was like, where did you come from? And my bump was growing so big, and I was like, this baby has to come out like now. And I was like only week 30, like early 30s, and I was like, how could I get any bigger? It was just freaking me out because my stretch marks were very visible at that point. The pregnancy journey forced me to accept that my body was going to look different after pregnancy because I was eating a lot more and a lot less, at certain points. I had certain cravings for foods that I usually wouldn't eat, trying to be healthy, but I tried to balance it like later on when I wasn't nauseous all the time. But yeah, when I stepped on the scale, it was quite frightening at some points because I was like, oh wow, I'm gaining a lot of weight really quickly. It wasn't anything like abnormal. I think your body knows what it needs to grow your baby. And so I basically went through this journey of accepting like, okay, after I give birth, that's when I'll start dealing with bringing my body back. I remember like bookmarking all these workouts and core exercises to like bring your abs back together because your abdominal area more often than not has a split when you are pregnant because it's trying to make room for the baby. But lo and behold, it was so hard for me to find not just the time, but also the mental energy and clarity to do anything of self-care. Like the first month, especially when I was just dying, I was literally in the trenches. I felt like my soul was leaving my body. I just felt like a living zombie. That's how I felt. Also, you hear a lot of advice for like taking walks and getting outside and make sure you're moving to help recover, but it's also totally okay not to do those things until you feel like you're ready. I did not feel ready to take a walk the first week for sure, even though my husband could not understand and he just wanted to help me recover, but I really just could not do that much the first probably 2 weeks until I could start slowly going out, taking small, short walks, and then building up from there. Don't be hard on yourself if you're like, how come other moms on social media are able to bounce back so quickly and do all these workouts and prioritize their self-care, and I'm over here just struggling to even shower or make myself food or make my family food. It is different for everyone. I had like bleeding the first 2 weeks, I think, and then it became more like spotting after that. It did sting down there like the first, I guess like the first week or so after birth, but you know, the hospital, they usually teach you, and you can also get products for this too, but you can put like witch hazel and this foam, ice packs and stuff to kind of help it heal better down there. One of my friends also gave me like this wound healing spray and also a peri bottle, very, very helpful to fill that up with warm water, although I had trouble holding in my pee before it came out to wait for the water to heat up in the sink. Like, no one talks about how hard it is when you really need to pee to be turning on the faucet, waiting for the water to get warm to fill up your peri bottle. Like, I just couldn't wait a lot of times. I had to fill it up with just regular room temperature or cool water, and that was better than nothing. But basically, when you spray that while you pee, that also helps a lot. Another thing I forgot to mention is the first few days I did feel like an achiness and the soreness on one of my sides, and thankfully it went away after a few days. But the initial first few days I was a little concerned about that. I thought it was due to like expelling the placenta, but it was actually probably more due to just because I was pushing my baby out at the very end on my side. I didn't even realize how much I was just like using those muscles. So yeah, I was just a little sore on that side for a bit, but it went away after a few days. I also took some painkillers like Tylenol, and that also helped. By week 5, I felt majority not fully healed. Like, it still felt kind of weird down there. Like, it felt like a sensation of like something's like off or falling out almost. My 6-week appointment at the OB office, I was terrified. I was like, I haven't looked down there at all. I don't want to, because I've heard horror stories. Like, I don't want to be traumatized by my own body part. And so I was like, tell me how it is. The nurse at the OB office, she was like, oh yeah, it looks good. And she did, however, prod her fingers inside and asked me to squeeze. And that's when she said, oh, okay, but your vaginal strength is probably like a 2 out of 5. She said it's like better than what she usually sees. She said, yeah, I would highly recommend pelvic floor therapy, which is actually something that I heard from a lot of other moms as well, pelvic floor therapy. I was also in disposable postpartum underwear for a good at least month or so, which is way past the bleeding point, but I specifically really liked it because of my vaginal floor not being so strong. So I definitely still would leak very easily and couldn't hold pee in as easily, especially when I was so busy trying to take care and figure out what's going on with my newborn, just crying all the time and needing me so much. So I literally just lived in disposable underwear for at least a month, and it was the best. I definitely had an abdominal split as well that my OB told me I had a little bit split. I did feel kind of like empty. I can't really explain it, but it just felt like weaker in general, especially right after giving birth. I think a lot of people don't realize when you first give birth, you feel like something's missing, because obviously you just ejected like a whole baby, and your placenta is also really big, by the way. I got to see my placenta when it came out, and oh my gosh, I was like, whoa, that's really wild. Like, I have no words. Something I've been experiencing is there's tension on a specific side of my pelvic floor area internally. Basically what happens after you give birth, I didn't know this, is it gets stretched out a lot down there, and then it retracts. But then when it retracts, sometimes it retracts, it's like off, you know? And so you need to do stretches to make sure that it's like balanced and put together again, basically, and that things aren't painful when you're doing certain activities related to what's down there. After giving birth, I think I was really surprised that I lost almost 12 pounds, like pretty much right after giving birth, maybe like within a few days. And then by now, I pretty much lost like 30 pounds in total. And what I didn't know was it takes basically 12 weeks for your uterus to deflate. So your uterus really expands a lot like a balloon, and it basically goes back to its normal size like after 12 weeks. But in the meantime, you feel like a balloon, like you feel like extra squishy, and there's just not much you can do except wait it out, do your exercises, whatever you're able to manage. But you know, I thankfully went in with the realistic expectation, like, oh, you will still have a postpartum belly and a bump for those 12 weeks. Basically, it will still look like you're pregnant for maybe like the first few days especially, and I certainly did. I felt like I looked and felt very puffy after giving birth, which was surprising, and it definitely made me a bit insecure. Like, oh wow, like some people look like they look great afterwards, and some people just bounce back right into shape and have that flat tummy. That was certainly not the case for me. I definitely still had that postpartum belly, and I actually still do, and that's something I wanted to be very real and candid about. But yeah, I feel like I'm just taking my time and not trying to overwhelm myself with getting everything in line in all areas of my life, because I know it's gonna come with time, yet at the same time acknowledging the reality of it is hard when I can't find many clothes that I can wear that make me feel good. I'm mostly wearing still my maternity clothes. That a lot of them I just bought oversized regular clothes. Okay, I'm so sorry I keep interrupting this video with post edits. It's funny because I think so much of my focus and attention has really been on just surviving and taking care of my baby and all these other things that I've talked about on my channel, that only recently, working on this video now, I've been noticing more physical changes. I just realized, this is gonna sound really strange, but it just shows like how little I've been paying attention. But I just realized also my breasts, the size has gotten significantly smaller, like compared to, especially compared to pregnancy, but also before pregnancy as well. Apparently it's very normal. People just, I guess, don't talk about it. You can expect for your breast size to decrease, for them to look less full, to be saggier, not super saggy, but I was just a little caught off guard the other day when I noticed in the mirror. I was like, wait, those look different. And I will say, I think out of all the physical changes, that is probably the saddest one to me. But I'm not super distraught about it, honestly. Like, I do believe a big part of my, I guess, body positivityness has been because my husband is so supportive and affirming and loving and just calls me beautiful even when I feel like I look like a disaster. So after meeting my husband and dating him and getting to experience that kind of love outside of just my physical appearance, that actually helped heal a lot of my body insecurity that I had growing up. I just feel really grateful for that aspect, because I know not everybody has that kind of a relationship, and that can make it really, really hard and difficult, especially when you're already like insecure about how your body's looking. But yeah, I do want to be cognizant and recognize it is very hard, like all the body physical changes and kind of just missing your old body and grieving that is definitely a normal part of postpartum as well, and really learning to embrace and love your new body even though it looks so different, even though it may fall short according to the standards of our society. But I think this also connects back to how I felt after giving birth, honestly, is like, wow, I cannot believe my body just created and push out a whole human being. Like, it just, I think it's this tension of grieving what isn't anymore, at the same time celebrating and acknowledging how incredible your body is in terms of how it's able to create life. If you're breastfeeding, that also makes you feel like your body is foreign to you, like it doesn't belong to you. Oftentimes, like, not everyone has the same experience, but that's kind of how I felt when I was breastfeeding for the short amount of time that I did. You can watch my videos on why that didn't work out for us, but yeah, it really was such a bizarre, like, foreign feeling to not feel like myself in my own body, especially when you're breastfeeding, feeling like, you know, you're getting engorged and clogged ducts, and is your supply enough, and your baby just like sees your breast as their source of food. So it totally just like changes how you feel and relate to that area, if that makes sense. We're featuring a special guest because she's been fussing and I can't seem to calm her except if I hold her. Postpartum hair loss. I've been experiencing more clumps, not super big, but just small clumps of hair falling out in the shower, which is fun. But apparently that's not really losing hair. It's just the extra hair that you gain during pregnancy gets shed off around month 4. So there's probably going to be more of that to come. The other thing is dry skin. So my skin also got really dry after giving birth, and at first I thought it was just stress, but apparently it's a common thing. And I even had some pimples, which I rarely ever do, which probably was the stress. But yeah, my skin has been significantly drier than before. It was way worse, I think the first 2 months especially. You can get dry skin and body odor, which I thankfully didn't have. I don't think too bad of, but that is also very common too. I only recently realized and noticed that my belly button, first during pregnancy, it went from an innie to an outie for the first time. I've never seen the inside of my belly button before like that because my belly was just like popping that much. But after giving birth, I didn't even pay attention to my belly button that much until recently. And I noticed it was like so much deeper because of loose skin. Also, sorry if this is TMI. I'm just trying to be honest and real for people who are never told this, because I was never told this. Check the inside, because there's definitely, I want to say it's lint, but I also looked it up and apparently it's like dead skin, but things can collect in there and it sounds gross, but I only recently discovered that. So that's just something to watch out for. But yeah, I hope that gives a good rundown of what it's been like physically postpartum, now 3 months in. And if you're a new mom, I would love to hear your experience postpartum, because I know everyone's is so different, and it always helps to hear the reality of what other people go through so that we're not unknowingly having these unrealistic expectations over ourselves, because nobody really talks about what to realistically expect. All right, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you later.